You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Coronation special. How does it affect her? Part of my education that I provide to you about narcissists and psychopaths is to enable you to understand the way that the narcissist sees the world, feels about the world, how the narcissist feels in response to certain actions and activities. I do this so that you gain accuracy as to what's really going on in the mind of Harry's wife, because so much rubbish is written about why she does as she does and how she feels. With regard to the issue of the coronation, there are essentially two aspects which are impacting upon the way that she feels at the current time. The first is, of course, the fact that she's not attending. The second is the fact that she would desperately like to attend. Let's deal with the second first. The coronation presents a fantastic opportunity for her as a narcissist. Lots of people to assert control over, but providing oodles of delicious fuel that her subconscious narcissism really wants to get its teeth into. Millions of tertiary sources responding to the spectacle. The opportunity for her to cause them to respond to her in some shape or form. By appearing and waving from a car, by appearing from an open window, by walking into an event. Of course, she isn't permitted to be on the balcony if she were going. But she would still find opportunities to get as many eyes upon her, as many comments about her, as many oohs and ahs, and even the boos. Whilst their challenge fuel, they would still be fuel nevertheless. And it would represent a platform and a stage for her, and thus her narcissism would love to be involved because of the amount of fuel that's there to be drawn from hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of tertiary sources, both at the event itself and, of course, those watching on television and such like. It provides her an opportunity, of course, to manage the facade. Look, here I am, after the way that I've been treated by this family, I still show good grace and turn up. It also provides her with an opportunity to monetize the experience, which is something, of course, that she regularly does. It would provide her with material that she could perhaps use at a later juncture, things that have been said, information that can be leaked. And the fact is, it's a great big celebration involving a family that she married into, whose title she continues to use, but she's not going. And therefore, for her, in terms of how she feels, she will almost have this strange alternating sensation, which goes like this. It's taking place. I really want to be there. Gosh. And the narcissism would be initially thinking, so many opportunities. But then, of course, it would be reminded of the threat to control that exists, namely the risk of being booed or ignored by the general public, adverse media coverage of her, and, of course, most damaging of all, the response of the royal family. They are not, after the way that she has treated them, going to suddenly break out in smiles and grins and hugs. Even though part of her will think that they should do so. Even part of her believes that they should let bygones be bygones because they're the ones that have hurt her, and that if she were to go there and show good favour, they should respond in kind. But the fact is, her narcissism apprehends that members of the royal family are just going to ignore her. It remembers what happened at the Jubilee. It remembers what happened at the Queen's funeral. And even though that's a number of months ago, the extent of the wounding that she experienced from repeated non-intimate secondary sources, and the fact that there's been no shift in that stance so far, means that her narcissism takes that into account with regard to the forthcoming attendance, and, as I've explained in parts passim, is the overriding reason why she's not attending, because in effect she's bottled it. She's a coward. She can't deal with the fact that she's going to be given the cold shoulder. She can't deal with the fact that she's going to be frozen out. She can't deal with the fact that she's going to have to curtsy to the Princess of Wales and the Duchess of Edinburgh. Those things would cause much wailing and gnashing of teeth for her because she believes herself to be superior to them. Accordingly, whilst her narcissism initially wants her to be there because it's such a good opportunity, it also, as a self-defense mechanism, has regard to the risk factor. So it's almost like, oh, I want to eat those chocolates. Oh, hang on a minute, they're poisoned. Oh, I really want to eat those chocolates. No, they're poisoned. So there's this vacillation that occurs, that each time the coronation comes up on her radar, and it will do so regularly as a consequence of people making mention of it, it being referenced in the news, the fact that, of course, as we know, she checks the news and she checks social media. The fact that it will keep coming up on her radar will cause an initial response of, fuck, I should be attending. But then her narcissism, in order to protect her, will jump in and deal with that initial seething indignation by either causing her to mutter about it to anybody who will listen, or, in essence, jettison the individuals, namely the royal family, associated with it by thinking, fuck 'em, I'm better off staying away from them. They're a horrible lot. And it then may, of course, cause her to think about the overshadowing that she would do. More of which, of course, I'm going to be explaining to you in an immediate series coming up, which you'll find absolutely fascinating and entertaining. But in terms of how she feels about all of this, essentially, it alternates between annoyance, irritation, dismay at not being able to attend an event that she believes she should be at, and then contempt for the event as her narcissism kicks in and causes her to think, well, I'm better off not going, I'm better off not attending this. It'll be rubbish. Basically, it'll be rubbish anyway. And remember, because of the compartmentalization of the narcissist in one breath can talk about it as, oh, what a marvellous occasion, it'll be wonderful. And then in the next say, it'll be a load of shit, I'm not bothered about it. That is the flexibility that the narcissism affords. The fact that the narcissist can engage in a 180 and portray whatever view is necessary to portray outwardly. But inwardly, she'll be torn between the sensation of wanting to be there because it represents such a good opportunity to cater to the prime aims, although remember, she doesn't consciously know that. She will basically perceive it in terms of, I should be there, I'm the Duchess of Sussex, how dare they make it so that I can't attend? And then, in order to get that control, she'll be dismissive of it and think, well, I'm better off being here with Archie and the dolls, with a tea party on the lawn, and I'm going to talk about that instead. Or turn to whatever other manipulations that she's going to engage in order to try and steal the thunder away from King Charles. But she will not feel satisfied. It's a period of these coming weeks of feeling unsettled, this vacillation between the two states. Not a happy state of affairs for her at all. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.